All right, the Miami Dolphins find themselves in the news, making a low-key under-the-radar move that kind of snuck in under the window of the weekend. But, Miles, I think this is very interesting and certainly very intriguing move by Miami as they look to put all the pieces forward to make that big-time Super Bowl push that we're all waiting for.
Yeah, Nick. And as Miami comes into the draft, there's a lot of interesting news surrounding the team. They're making a lot of really, really great moves. I think that everybody is going to love. But we speak of the draft. I want to go into the drafts of the past and ask the Dolphins fans, what has been your favorite draft pick in Miami Dolphins history? There's a lot of history on this team. There's a lot of great draft picks, and it doesn't even have to be the best player or the most valued player, something along those lines. We're just talking about who were you the most excited about when the Dolphins drafted them. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear a word from the partner of today's video, Neuro. But Nick, nonetheless, what have the Dolphins done this time?
Yeah, ever since last offseason, Miles, the Miami Dolphins have just been going after, it seems, every possible veteran they can acquire on both sides of the football to load up a deeply talented team, whether it's skilled players, front seven, offensive line to surround Tua and young coach Mike McDaniel, and they aren't done. This was first reported according to the Palm Beach Post, if you want to go ahead and throw it up there. The Dolphins are adding Chosen Anderson, that's formerly Robbie Anderson, for those of you who aren't up to what Chosen Anderson calls himself these days, to bolster the depth at wide receiver. Anderson, 29, has played 7 NFL seasons with the Jets, Panthers, and Cardinals. Because Anderson is 6'3" and is a proficient deep ball catcher, his skill set should complement smaller Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Braxton Berrios as well. All right, Mike. So obviously, we're going to put aside Anderson's antics here for a second because he did come into some potential issues in Carolina and in New York. And listen, I don't know how to grade it because after all, when you look at that situation, when you have Sam Darnold throwing you the football, I'd probably get upset if that was my entire career for a long time too. So I'm going to kind of put that to aside for a second. But in terms of an acquisition, all the reports say it's a 1-year deal, most likely very team friendly, some incentives in case Anderson balls out, but it doesn't look like it'll be a very expensive deal at all for the Miami Dolphins. Based on just talent alone, I love this move, Mice, because when you look at teams, when you're looking to try to make that final playoff push to overcome a top contender, one of the things that can derail you very quickly is an inopportune injury in a big game, and you have to return to a young, inexperienced guys. It happens all the time. We see it every once in a while in a playoff game. A team's moving up and down the field, a star player gets hurt, a skilled player normally, and suddenly the offense just runs into a brick wall. They can't move anymore. We saw this against the Rams, against the Bengals in the Super Bowl a few years ago. The Rams were moving the ball up and down the field. They're having no problems at all, and then suddenly Odell Beckham gets hurt, and suddenly they can't move the ball at all. They had to have Cooper Kupp miraculously pull the game out at the end, carrying the team on his back. You don't want to be in that situation. So one of the ways you can counteract that, Mice, is adding a veteran guy who's been there before, has all the physical tools, knows how to run routes, can understand different offenses, who can slide in the case of an injury and convert third downs and take advantage of one-on-ones if the opportunity persists. So from that perspective, Mice, I love this signing by the Miami Dolphins because that means if they ever are in this situation, they hope they aren't. And if like Jalen Waddle's banged up and then Tyreek Hill pulls a hammy in a huge game, regular season or postseason, you've got a veteran who can come in and make plays and get you through that game and on to the next week, Mize. Give me your thoughts on this move by the Dolphins, everything with Robbie Anderson, or Chosen Anderson, I should say, and just everything going on with this team right now.
Yeah, Nick, skill-wise, like you said, I think it's a really great move. And you go back to his skill set dating back from, all throughout his career. Let's go through the highlights, even the highest of highs of each year of his career. Longest catch in 2016, 52 yards. 2017, 69, 76 yards, a 92-yard touchdown. 75-yard, 57, another 75-yard catch. He is good at catching the deep ball, as they said, Nick, and that adds another layer. Miami can run basically 4 verticals almost every play and have like 3 really, really fast guys who catch the ball very, very proficiently, and I think he just adds another layer. It's that mantra of you really can't cover everybody on the field when Miami comes up. One of these guys is going to get open, and they're all fast enough and have a good enough deep ball skill set to get a little wiggle room, get themselves out in space, and make a play. And I like a guy like Anderson. He's not going to cost you $1 million, $2 billion to sign him. He's going to be a relatively efficient signing here for the Dolphins. And he is going to be a asset to the team. I think if he can play let's go back like 2 years. He kind of had a down year in 2022, but just 2 years ago, if he can be that 700-yard guy for you, you're going to love signing a signing like this if you're the Dolphins. I mean, that's all that he needs to be, is a guy that's just getting there. He's the threat, and he's somewhat productive. You got to love a guy like this, Nick. So I think it's a pretty smart move by the Dolphins, and I think he adds a little bit of deep ball and height red zone wise to this Dolphins wide receiver group.
Miles, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Something I forgot till you brought it up. How about red zone? Because one of the problems with Miami, and it's not a huge problem, but the reality is when you're a smaller wide receiver core, which they obviously are with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and look, these guys can create space and do the kind of slot routes that you've seen a lot of New England Patriots receivers do for a long period of time to get open in the red zone. But you don't want to have to rely on that. Sometimes you just want to have a big, strong physical presence who can take advantage of one-on-one matchups in the red zone, and that's exactly what Robbie Anderson is, or Chosen Anderson. I'm gonna get his name wrong for the rest of his career, no doubt about that. But when you look at the Miami Dolphins last season, they finished 10th in red zone offense in terms of scoring percentage. That's pretty good, obviously. But when you look on the talent that the team had, obviously with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Gesicki, even though he's no longer there, great running game, you would expect them to be higher up on the bar with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, teams like those. I think Anderson gives them that final guy that can force teams to, get out of any zone coverages they would play against, because Robbie Anderson's physical stature, 6'3", can jump, good physical presence, can take advantage of those soft zones in the red zone and just moss defensive backs if the situation presents itself. And once teams are forced to go away from zone in the red zone, they go to man, and that's where Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle can just absolutely eviscerate them. So I really love the point you brought up, Miles, about the red zone impact that Anderson could provide this offense. So all in all, this is kind of a sneaky good move by the Miami Dolphins. I think will pay big dividends for them in 2023. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big time game winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.